Congratulations, you've just woken up as a pharaoh. The good news, you're a god on earth. The bad news, your stomach is about to betray you with its demands for food so elaborate and bizarre it feels like torture. Your bed, a masterpiece of Egyptian luxury that looks like the set of a Hollywood epic, is actually more like sleeping on a bed of nails, literally, as it's stuffed with dried papyrus and covered in raw silk that has never seen detergent or even water. The air around you smells faintly of incense, but also, ominously, of rotting fish. Your body is already sweating profusely as if you just finished a marathon, and it's only dawn. Your first thought? Breakfast. But here's what nobody expected. Breakfast in this palace isn't a quick bite or even a casual meal. It's an event that involves more people than your entire family at a holiday gathering: cooks, servants, advisors, priests, everyone with their own agenda and secrets. The stakes are high here in ancient Egypt. One wrong move at mealtime could mean losing more than just your appetite. It's about status, health, and survival itself. But probably not just that. And that's all before breakfast. As servants arrive to assist you with morning rituals and dressing, the real question lingers. What exactly are you eating today? You blink in confusion as they start laying out your meal. It's like something from an alien movie or a modern food challenge show gone wrong. But here's what nobody expected. Congratulations, you've just woken up as an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. You're the ruler of the Nile Delta and all its treasures. Your palace is more like a crowded flea market than a royal retreat. You stretch, groaning as your joints protest against the soft sand floor that doubles as your mattress. Your bed may be luxurious compared to the common folks' reed beds, but it's still not exactly the plush king-sized you might have imagined. The first thing you notice is the smell. It's like a perfume shop exploded, mixed with sweat and dust. Everything from incense to frankincense is in use here, but it's not exactly Chanel No. 5. And just when you think your senses can't take any more assault, a servant shuffles in with your morning meal. But here's what nobody expected: your breakfast isn't served on fine china or in gold platters. You'd think it was maybe bread and wine, or maybe a full feast fit for the gods. Actually, it's neither. You're faced with a bizarre concoction of dates, figs, and what looks suspiciously like raw fish guts mixed into a paste. The servants shuffle out as quickly as they came in, leaving you to ponder the culinary mysteries of ancient Egypt. But probably not for long, because just as you're about to take your first bite, your head servant bursts into the room with news of a new temple construction project gone awry. Everything changes when you realize that being a pharaoh isn't just about eating like royalty. It's also about dealing with endless bureaucratic headaches and construction mishaps. And right as you're starting to grasp the complexity of your role, another crisis looms on the horizon. You take a bite of what looks like candy date stuffed with almonds and honey. It's sweet, sticky, and absolutely delicious, but your stomach churns as you swallow. You've been feeling bloated and sluggish ever since the feast began last night. But here's the thing. This isn't just indigestion. Your body feels like it's stuffed with cotton wool, and you wonder if maybe the ancient Egyptians had some secret laxative mixed into their wine. However, your stomach isn't just uncomfortable, it's actively rebelling against every bite of food you try to force down. You start to think it might be something in the air. Could there be some kind of allergen floating around here that nobody talks about? Maybe the pharaohs had their own version of a pollen allergy? But just when you thought it couldn't get worse, your skin starts itching uncontrollably. You'd think that by now you'd be used to the strange sensations assaulting your body. But this one takes the cake, or rather, it takes the stuffed dates. However, instead of a simple skin irritation, something else seems to be happening. Your joints feel stiff, and moving feels like wading through thick mud. It's becoming clearer by the second that something more than just a bad meal or too much wine is affecting your body. Maybe it's some kind of curse from the gods. Or perhaps there are some ancient Egyptian truths you're only now starting to uncover. But here's what nobody expected. Everything changed when you realized that your luxurious lifestyle might be hiding a dark secret. What if the foods and oils meant to pamper the pharaohs were actually slowly poisoning them? You begin to wonder if perhaps the most privileged life wasn't just about comfort, but also a ticking time bomb of health issues. The room fills with an eerie silence before one servant whispers something that makes your blood run cold. You feel a chill down your spine as they speak in low tones about what's to come. But here's the thing. You think to yourself, trying to prepare for whatever awaits you next. However, nothing could have prepared you for this. Suddenly, the door opens wider and another servant steps forward carrying an intricately carved wooden tray covered by a cloth. You watch in confusion as they place the tray before you, lifting the cover to reveal a platter of live insects. What on earth? You think, but it's not an earth question here, it's Egyptian. You blink several times, hoping this might be some sort of bizarre, ancient royal joke. However, the serious expressions around you make it clear there's no humor in this situation. These are a delicacy, one servant explains gravely, offering a beetle on a silver platter. Your stomach churns as you consider the two possibilities before you. 1. These bugs are some sort of prehistoric protein shake like eating crickets is supposed to be healthy today. Maybe it's a form of ancient insect sushi? But here's what nobody expected. The servant nods approvingly and says in a tone that suggests this is no joke, you must consume these as part of your royal diet. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, he adds, it's believed to be an aphrodisiac. Your mind races. You think about all the romantic tales you've heard pharaohs having harems of beautiful women and countless lovers. Could this really be true? But as you look at those squirming legs and hard exoskeletons, it's not just romance that crosses your mind. Everything changed when you realized there was more to this meal than meets the eye, or rather, doesn't meet the mouth. You hesitate for a moment, trying to decide if you should bite into one of these wriggling creatures or run, screaming from the room. But before you can make up your mind, another servant enters with yet another tray. This time it's filled with what looks like tiny fish eggs in a creamy sauce. You must try these as well, he says matter-of-factly. They are a delicacy and very important for your health. Important? For your health? You wonder if this is some sort of ancient Egyptian version of eating kale or quinoa, but somehow you doubt it. Your heart races with every step forward in this surreal dining ritual. But here's the twist, the real shocker isn't just what they serve. It's how they're served and consumed. You take another deep breath, trying to prepare yourself for whatever bizarre, ancient tradition you're about to witness or participate in. But the real shock comes when you least expect it. As the servants begin whispering among themselves, a new tray is brought out. This one contains what looks like tiny glass jars filled with murky liquids. One servant picks up a jar and offers it to you, his voice barely above a whisper. This will help your digestion. Help your digestion? You think of the last time you had to deal with digestive issues back home. Your heart sinks as you realize that what seems like an ordinary meal is about to take a bizarre turn. And just when you thought nothing could be worse, it turns out there's always something more shocking around the corner in ancient Egypt. As the servants prepare to pour the mysterious liquids into your cup, you feel your body tense up. You wonder if this is all part of some ritual or a test of your royal character. But what happens next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about ancient Egyptian cuisine and yourself. And just when you think you've seen the worst, one final tray arrives containing something that seems almost otherworldly. And just when you think you've got it made as a pharaoh's guest, your stomach starts to feel strangely off. It's like that moment after eating too many chili peppers, but amplified. You try to ignore it, focusing instead on the intricate carvings of lotus flowers and papyrus patterns adorning the walls. But here's the thing. Despite the grandeur of it all, something feels wrong. You're sitting on cushions that look soft, but have an odd texture. It's like sleeping on a mattress made out of crumpled paper towels. And just when you thought the feast couldn't get worse, a sudden rumbling starts in your stomach that has nothing to do with hunger. You glance down at the food and suddenly realize it's not just fancy, it's suspiciously exotic. But probably not in a good way. You'd think this meal was prepared by some of the finest chefs in Egypt. Maybe it was, but actually it wasn't the kind you want to try at home. You start to notice that your fellow guests are leaving early, one by one, clutching their stomachs and moving towards the nearest exit. Suddenly, everything changes when you hear the word plague. It's whispered urgently among the servants. You glance at your plate again, wondering if this could be some kind of ancient Egyptian version of taste the poison before you eat. You wonder for a moment if it's all just part of an elaborate ritual to cleanse your body. But here's what nobody expected: your stomach starts to churn like a washing machine on spin cycle. Pharaoh, the servant whispers, "These are for purging." You hesitate for a moment, wondering if you should just stay here and wait it out. However, as another guest rushes out vomiting violently, you realize that maybe discretion is the better part of valor. You wonder if this was all some kind of test, see how much fancy food and wine you can handle before running for the door. But here's the truth, that most people never knew the extravagance wasn't just about flaunting wealth. It was also about survival in an era where every meal could be a gamble. So what do you do now? You've got the choice between staying here and hoping for the best or running out into the night, maybe finding yourself in a more down-to-earth Egyptian kitchen where at least there's no chance of contracting something deadly. You're surrounded by empty plates piled high with exotic fruits from far-off lands. Jugs of wine sit untouched next to golden chalices. But here's what nobody expected: this opulent display, this excess, wasn't just about indulgence. It was survival. It's like Uber, but with horses and plague. Your journey home will be a leisurely ride on a horse-drawn carriage through winding streets filled with the sounds of night dogs barking, children crying, and distant chanting from temples. But probably not for you tonight. Your day has been one extravagant event after another, but here's the kicker: it was all orchestrated to impress the gods. The pharaohs weren't just eating fancy food. They were performing a sacred ritual to ensure their immortality and protect the kingdom from divine wrath. Your bed is a massive wooden frame draped in linen sheets, cooler than silk, but smoother than any modern fabric you know. But probably not as comfortable as the memory foam mattress back home. However, it's the thought that counts, or rather, the ritual. Sleep now is a precious commodity for the pharaohs, one not to be wasted. They aren't just resting. They're preparing their bodies for tomorrow's rituals, ensuring that every cell in their body is renewed and ready to face another round of opulent dining. In a world where life was harsh and survival uncertain, eating like a pharaoh wasn't just about luxury. It was a profound statement of power and piety, linking you directly to the divine order of things. But here's the strange part: no matter how richly they ate or drank, every pharaoh had to confront the same question as everyone else: what happens when life ends? And perhaps that's the strangest part. Not that they lived this way, but that we forgot they ever did. The grandeur of their feasts has been lost to time, reduced to dusty scrolls and broken artifacts. Yet, when you close your eyes tonight, you can still taste the exotic fruits, feel the cool linen sheets against your skin, and hear the distant chanting echoing through the corridors. But here's one last thought for you to ponder. Every act of luxury was also an act of memory. When pharaohs feasted on peaches and drank rich wine, they weren't just celebrating life, they were preserving it. And in a world where time is fleeting, that is something worth remembering. And so you rest, your body now infused with the essence of ancient Egypt, ready to wake up and face whatever comes next.